Alina Adams, Soap Hub writer. My latest book is called Super Soap Scenes, a time capsule of good daytime drama's greatest moments. And it features interviews with the actors, writers, directors, and producers who made the soap moments fans voted their favorites.
And I'm Tina Charles, managing editor of Soap Hub.
Our first soap today is The Bold and the Beautiful, and this seems to be the week for women breaking out of prison.
Yes, Luna, to nobody's surprise, has already broken out of prison. And conveniently, there was a laundry cart in front of her prison cell. She jumped in, made it out, and she's already at Will's beach house. I don't know if you heard this, but Bill, Dollar Bill, gave his son, who's been going through so much trauma lately, the beach house, the one that RJ once rented out and was the site of Luna's last spree, where all the shooting Liam and all that stuff happens.
Well, maybe he wants to do some aversion therapy. Maybe he was afraid that Will was developing a phobia of beach houses. And since rich people in Los Angeles can't risk having a phobia of beach houses, Bill is doing some aversion therapy for him. Although I do have to say, the laundry cart thing, isn't that how she also escapes in the play Annie? So apparently laundry carts are just the vehicle of choice. When she went to that, I thought she was going to sing It's a Hard Knock Life.
Well, she could. I mean, that's basically what she says about her childhood growing up under Poppy. But Bill did get, to his credit, the beach house. He got the vibes cleansed. He had it saged and basically had an exorcism for the house. Yes. So it's all good. And Will and Electra have already been enjoying the beach house, but at the end of Monday's episode, Luna already confronts Will. It's happening quickly, man. She got wherever that prison is, out to Malibu, she got there fast.
Well, perhaps she peddled the laundry cart. I have this image of her sitting in a laundry cart with rowing it down the street, down the 405.
The Uber laundry cart.
Well, now I'm so afraid that this is going to be just a setback for Will, and now he will no longer be able to enjoy beach houses again.
I know he might start having a phobia for beach houses. Who knows?
Well, and while one young person is facing his lunatic young person, we have Zende, who apparently has to support Carter and go, woo, yay, Daphne.
Yeah, well, obviously we have not seen Zende much on Bold and the Beautiful, but they carted him out in order to be there for Carter and sort of support him. Although, people have speculated that he could have gone after Daphne at one point, and that hasn't happened. And we don't know if it could end up being a triangle eventually. We have no idea. But Daphne, she was they all showed up for Daphne at the open mic night at the one restaurant in Los Angeles called Il Giardino, because that's the only place in Los Angeles that people on Bold and Beautiful get to go carry out or go enjoy.
No wonder Noah from The Young and the Restless thought he can open a club in Los Angeles. Apparently in Los Angeles, there's a shortage of clubs and restaurants.
Especially Italian restaurants in the Beverly Hills area.
Anyway,
so Zende and Carter, they're hanging out at Il Giardino, and Zende is basically supporting his pal. We'll see if that lasts, though. They have to give Zende something to do at some point, right?
I'm so old that I remember when Zende was, the little boy that they found in an orphanage, and it was just like, we'll bring him home like a pet, because apparently filling out paperwork is not something foresters do. And he was a cute little kid who had to mostly sit and listen to people singing the Rainbow Connection, and then he disappeared. Now, to be fair, soap children disappear all the time. We all know, there's SORAS, there's soap opera rapid aging syndrome, but we also need to have like DORAS or something disappearing rapidly aging children. But Zende feels like he's disappeared more than most. It's like he was adopted for a minute and then he disappeared for like half a decade.
Right. And even now they just sort of bring him in and out of the story. He's no longer involved with Hope for the Future. Apparently he's helping Eric and Ridge out with couture, while Hope's brother Deke is now the designer for Hope for the Future. So we'll see if they end up figuring out a niche for Zendaya. I hope they do someday, but we'll see.
No, it's like you use the word niche. It's like they didn't know what to do with him beyond cute African orphan, and they never thought about, well, we might have to give him story later on. I think your use of the word niche was absolutely perfect. They have not found what slot he fits into because, he's not Ridge's son and he's not Hope's son. But the beautiful thing is he's adopted, which means he's not biologically related to that incestuous clan. You'd think they'd be jumping to use him.
Right? I wish they would figure out something. I don't know. It's just, it hasn't happened yet, but hopefully it will.
So Luna broke out of prison, and we're going to use that as a transition to go to Days of Our Lives, where Kristen allegedly broke out of prison.
But she did it.
Yeah, but before we get to that, we have to say, loving the flashbacks. Last week, the anniversary shows, a whole week of anniversary shows. How amazing was that? Although I do have to say, I had a moment where Holly and Tate were taking notes with a paper and pencil, and I just remember going, oh, come on. Like, kids that age would do an interview with paper and pencil.
What's a
They'd
pencil?
have their phone. Yeah, they'd have their phones. My husband, who is a teacher, suggested maybe it was required for the school assignment, but we know Johnny is their professor, and does he look like he knows how to read, much less write cursive?
I feel like Johnny may have taught 2 classes and that's already over.
Well, he's busy. They put him there for a hot minute for the Sophia and Holly storyline, but now they've got him with Chanel and the baby. Work. What's work? I'm a Demera. I don't need to work, which is actually pathetically kind of true. Can I mention one pet peeve though about the flashbacks? I loved that they showed the Mickey, Bill, and Laura stuff because that's really the triangle that put Days of Our Lives on the map. But as a longtime viewer, to have Jeremy calling Bill grandpa and then referring to Uncle Mickey made no sense. Yes, Mike knew he was Bill's biological son, and he and Jennifer think of themselves as siblings, but they also have the same mother. But Mickey was always Mike's father. So if Jeremy had any relationship with Mike and the Hortons, it would be Grandpa Mickey and Uncle Bill, not the other way around.
I guess they're being literal there. I don't know.
It felt so weird. And one more thing, because you know what? If Days of Our Lives can have a week worth of flashbacks, I can have a few minutes worth of old school days. Okay, you're gonna have to put up with me, Tina, because this is what I do.
That's all right.
So when Marlena was talking to Leo about losing little baby to sorrow, it was actually quite moving.
Okay, you wrote an article about this, right?
I did, but now I feel I need to rant verbally. So in case people
I'm good. I'm on board.
To read about it, can at least listen to me, is that what they didn't mention, and I kept thinking they were going to go there because why else have Marlena talk to Tesoro, is that Marlena once had a foster son whose name, by the way, was Johnny. She has had a lot of Johns in her life, let's put it that way. And there she had to give Johnny up to his biological mother, and there were scenes of it. And this was a week full of flashbacks. I was sure that was why they had the scene there, but didn't go there.
I don't know. I wish they had, but they did show so many flashbacks.
They were wonderful.
So many really good ones.
I'm being selfish. I wanted more, and it just seemed like that was the setup. I'm being totally selfish. I want a month of flashbacks. I want a year of flashbacks.
Well, we've basically had a year of flashbacks. I remember over the summer with John passing away, there were a lot of flashbacks then. I mean, I feel like Days of Our Lives is the show that I've cried at most this year. They have caused me to, I mean, I don't know how I even have tears left after all these flashbacks and all these poignant moments and all this remembering people who passed away and the 60th anniversary. It's just also the adoption story, the adoption episode that did it for me too. So yeah, Days has been responsible for a lot of tissue use this year.
All right, well, we'll go from the crying and the past to the happy in the future. I have been very clear that I am loving EJ and Belle, just loving EJ and Belle. But if we can't have EJ and Belle, I'll take EJ and Kat. They are very charming. They have great rapport. They have great chemistry. Although I have to say, I do love that she read to him first Wuthering Heights, a book about the most dysfunctional romantic relationship ever. I saw this movie with my husband and he said, do people actually find this romantic? And I said, yes, it's awful. So first she read him Wuthering Heights, which is funny because, we had the flashback with Sammy sitting at his bedside and talk about a dysfunctional
right.
Yep. But so she had this whole thing where she's been reading at his bedside and she never learned his name. She never heard anybody address him by name. She never heard Sam. She never looked at his chart.
Yeah, well, she couldn't see his face because he was all mummified, bandaged up. So
I,
I guess she
I get
wasn't
the
so
face.
curious.
So she read and formed an emotional bond with a Kentucky Fried EJ without ever having learned his name. Okay,
I
okay.
mean, I do like they're connecting that thread between the two. So it feels like maybe they will get to EJ and Kat at some point in the future. I just don't know how long that'll take.
Also have to say what this isn't about EJ, but it's kind of about EJ. I laughed so hard when Sarah blamed EJ for the hospital lab making mistakes and the last 30 years of lost paternity tests and back from the dead DNA tests. Who are we blaming for that, Sarah?
A bit of amnesia there, selective amnesia.
It was just so funny. I mean, they're still working so hard to show that EJ is the big bad that they're ignoring. This is the worst hospital in the world.
It is. It is. I love Dan's facial expressions though. Like the expressions he gives when everybody blames him for something or another. He's just like, okay, this is how it's gonna be, whatever.
No,
I'll own it.
he's absolutely fabulous. I mean, he's even been able to sell the fact that he ended today's episode talking to a shiny box. He was monologuing to a shiny box, which I assume is somehow connected to the fact that Dr. Rolf is back and we have Kristen and Tony as prisoners. And who else is missing? Stefan is missing, and Dimitri is missing. Megan is missing. So I assume this is going somewhere, but I swear to God, Dan sold EJ monologuing to a shiny box.
Actors on Days can do that because I feel like Stacey Heideck has done really well with that. When Ariane Zucker was on Days, Nicole always had to talk to herself and just monologue, and she was really good at it. So Dan's just another one in a long line of Days actors who can handle scenes by themselves, talking to themselves.
Well, and I know they were trying to do a little inside joke when Tony says to Kristen, "Oh, you look like Susan Banks." And she was dismissing it, but it makes no sense considering that Kristen is the one who brought Susan Banks to Salem because Susan Banks was pregnant with EJ, by the way. Susan Banks was pregnant and she wanted her to pretend to be Kristen. And there was a whole marriage ceremony where Susan Banks pretending to be Kristen almost married John. So isn't it a little bit odd that now Kristen would think it's not true that someone says Susan looks like her?
It's not that she doesn't think it's true. It's just that she doesn't like the comparison.
That she said something like, I don't see it. But maybe, you know what,
yeah.
you're right. It just seemed like they out-clevered themselves. You know what I mean? They're trying to be clever, that they out-clevered themselves.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
This brings us to someone who is not at all clever. Because now on General Hospital, Drew's crimes have devolved to stealing Tracy's moving boxes. Really, this is our villain. I'm trying to imagine Faison or Helena or even Ava diverting moving boxes delivery for the evils. That's quite a villainous come down there. You're robbing an old lady's luggage.
And doing it while Tracy is out of the country. Like, you can't even get the satisfaction of getting a rise out of Tracy because she's not there. Who, by the way, she better be on her way back because Ned's in the hospital, but what else?
But this was Drew's evil play. But I have to say, Ned's in the hospital, and how cute was it that Gio and Emma were the one? How cute are they? That they were the ones who found him, and they were actually doing something age appropriate rather than, the Joss and her Junior Spies of America program. Right. And then Britt steps up and helps out. And what a great moment for all three characters. And I just really thought that was a good use of, we had the emergency with Ned collapsing. And then who did you bring in to save him? It wasn't Drew, who walked away, but it was, Gio and Emma having
cackling. He cackled while he walked away.
And Britt is reminding us that she is a doctor and she just leapt right in and she helped. And I thought that was just a really great beat to play for all of them. I don't know what this means for Ned, but what a great beat for the rest of them.
Well, I really enjoyed that as well. And especially Gio calling Ned grandpa. It just seemed natural and it was adorable. And I'm like, finally, Gio is starting to accept his Quartermain status, and he's feeling bad about at least ignoring Ned this whole time, because Ned has been a real victim in this too, because he never knew. Brooklyn and Lois never told him from way back. And ever since Geo found out, he hasn't really, he stayed away from the entire Quartermain clan. And I don't think it's fair that he stayed away from Ned, because he didn't know better.
Well, yeah, the fact that he lumped in Ned with Lois. Well, the fact is, even with Brooklyn, I mean,
Yeah.
Brooklyn didn't know. Lois and her mother were the ones who he should be angry at, especially since they were the ones he ended up living with after his adoptive mother died.
Mhm.
Why be mad at Ned?
Yeah, I don't understand. But I also like the way that this storyline intersected with the storyline of breaking into the lab, and it's all just kind of one big sort of umbrella story. I really enjoyed that on GH.
Yeah, they are weaving the young people in nicely with the other stories and the lab and
They're
the
so good. All those young people on GH are so freaking good. It's not even funny.
So here is something I've been trying to keep track of. See if I've got this right, Tina. Willow cheated on Chase with Michael. Willow cheated on Michael with Drew. Is it now time for her to cheat on Drew with Chase, which would make this very circular or very triangular or maybe very squarish? But I got this right. She's moving around in circles.
She is. I think she do feel like, unfortunately, that she and Chase might be in each other's future. He's been so hardcore. Chase has been so hardcore about wanting to free Willow. And it was a little upsetting. I think I put this in my hits and miss column, that Brooklyn sort of let Chase off the hook pretty easily, even though he was just so passionate about wanting to save Willow. And in doing so, he's telling her, his wife, that he wants to go after Michael, who she's related. It's like, what?
There's a lot of what in this story. And I think it's pretty clear that Willow has a problem with men in the sense that she puts them on a pedestal. Like, she's thanking Chase, even though Alexis is the one who's defending her. And she thanked Drew for saving her life when Liesel was the one who actually donated. True. I mean, the woman obviously has serious mental problems. Thanks, Shiloh. Thanks, Harmony. That was not a great upbringing, but she needs help, not more enabling. And all the men in her life, whichever stage of the I'm with you or I'm cheating stage she is, they're all enabling the fact that she has really serious mental problems.
Yeah, she really does. And remember, she's also blaming Nina for the whole Drew affair. And she hasn't even tried to ask Nina about her perspective about the whole thing.
Yeah, no, she
unbelievable to me.
She definitely has an issue with men and women. And as I said, I blame Shiloh and I blame Harmony. So that was not a good background.
Not Nina, even though she's blaming Nina for everything.
She was kidnapped from. At least, we talked about Geo blaming Brooklyn. At least Brooklyn gave him up for adoption. She didn't know that he ended up with the cousin.
It's secret that Brooklyn kept this whole time about adopting, giving up her baby for adoption.
At least Brooklyn made the decision to give up Geo. Willow was stolen from Nina. Nina is completely blameless in this.
Yet she's the worst person in the world.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Willow would love it if it turned out that Nina shot Drew. And while we wait to figure out who shot Drew, what about Jagger? Cyrus, Austin? Who caused the fire that burned Michael? It is General Hospital loose threads now. General loose threads. Will anything ever be resolved on this show?
No, there's always suspicions, like the Charlie's pub fire and everything like that. That hasn't come out yet. Something has to give. I feel like every 6 months with GH, we have to bring up that, these loose ends are still loose.
Still loose. It's like, don't worry, folks. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss an episode. Remember, which network was it used to be that used to say, miss a day, miss a lot? I don't remember which.
I don't know.
But that was their tagline. But they want us to know, no, you didn't miss a day when we explained all of this. We remember, which is not going to do anything.
Yes.
So,
I mean, that Jagger and Austin thing, that's gotta just, I don't know, the executive producers maybe need to just give an interview and say, this is who it is, but we're not going to be, including this in any episode coming soon.
So now we move on to The Young and the Restless, where I'd like to say the following words. Phyllis, Cane, sure, Why not? They have negative chemistry. She stole his computer program for reasons we don't quite understand. He's still in love with Lily, but I guess they're technically both single, so Phyllis, Cane, okay.
And Lily is starting to come around on Cane.
She is. She left him that message today at the end of Monday's episode as he
Yeah.
was, with Phyllis. I just honestly, when they were at least in France and she was more actively flirting with him and he was being more cryptic, there was some chemistry there. But since they've come back to Jenna City, it's like they're trying to force it and it's not there. But the writers can't think of anything else to do. So Phyllis, Cane.
But I also have a problem with the fact that she's not the only one in Genoa City who's doing this, by the way, but she is looking Cane in his face and saying she didn't steal the AI program. She's totally gaslighting him, and he suspects, but I don't know, like she's saying to him that she stole the AI, but then she's hitting on him at the same time and seducing him. And is okay with that. She's okay with that.
Well, what's her plan? What's her agenda? Is the idea that by the time he figures out that she's the one who stole the program, he'll be so madly in love with her that he'll just laugh and say, "Oh, what a delightful scamp you are, Phyllis."
And
What's
that
the plan
she'll
here?
be, and it wasn't against Arabesque, it was against Jabot, and she wants
Yeah.
to be head of Jabot. So it has nothing to do with him, but she did give it to Victor, who did use it on Cane. Is Cane really going to be like, oh, I don't care who stole it anymore, like he said?
I don't get it. I don't get what she wants and I don't get what he wants. I mean, it would be fine if it was just you're here, I'm here, we're both really attractive people, let's have sex. But we're supposed to think there's something more than that, that they both are playing, D chess. But
Right,
what they're
right.
trying to do.
He's working an angle, she's working an angle, and I don't know. Maybe they figure out that they have genuine feelings, but I feel like this is a right now type of relationship. And once Lily gets her act together with how she really feels, then Cane and Lily will be back together.
Well, speaking of Lily, so today we had Lily talking to Adam and Chelsea about Cane, and Adam is judging Cane. Adam, who has been
Yeah.
the pariah how many times? Adam, who has committed crimes that are not just computer based or finance based. Really? Adam is getting all judging. Well, we're not talking about Chelsea, where at the end she's like, well, he's done terrible things, you and I. And even Chelsea and Adam, who for months, the only motivation in their lives was precious Connor. There is nothing more important than Connor. And then when Lily says Cane wants to regain his relationship with his kids, Chelsea and Adam are like, well, you can't do anything you want just because your child is the center of your universe. What? What happened, Tina? What happened?
I don't know, but Adam, as I love Adam, he's like one of my favorites.
I love Adam too. That's why I'm
But
so.
but yes, he was super judgy. But everybody on this show judges everybody else despite their past, everything that they've done in the past. So he's being judgy, even though he's done all these things. And much like Phyllis, he's also telling Lily, our family did not steal the AI program. And he's looking at her, and I feel like they think that if they say that a million times, then somebody will finally believe it.
Maybe they're trying to convince themselves, I was at least glad that Lily called out the fact that Victor totally played her when it came to Chancellor. I'm so glad she at least brought that up.
Yeah, I don't like that Victor did that. It was Victor and Billy in their own respective ways pushed her out of Chancellor, and she was so good at Chancellor. She should be the one heading up Chancellor right now, not Nikki.
Victoria, Nate, sure. Why not? They're fine. The actors
They're
are charming.
cute.
They're cute. The last time around, I actually really liked them a lot the last time around, but
Me
now
too.
they're sitting around and drinking hot chocolate. What's
I feel like that there are two people who are grieving that are finding each other and they're connecting on that emotional level. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it or reading into more than it actually is. I liked them originally too. I never understood how it went wrong, how Victor all of a sudden turned against Nate. It was very odd. And so I did like Nate and Audra, but that is clearly not happening. And so I'm on board for Nate and Victoria, but they're gonna have to figure out what they're going to do with that couple. They can't just exist.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They're fine. They're
Yeah.
cute. They put them together. Both actors are really putting in all the effort, but I don't see what the storyline there.
Right.
Yeah. And finally, speaking of boring, Beyond the Gates, Ashley knows that Derek can walk.
Oh, okay.
She broke up with him. That's what I was referring to. Beyond the Gates.
I'm with you on the transition. That was a good transition.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You would agree with me that Ashley and Derek were boring. The fact is, they're much more interesting apart than they are together. So they broke up. She needs to stay away from Andre because, that's really working.
Because Danny and Andre are amazing.
So working. But Derek and Shanice, yes, please.
I disagree. I feel like Shanice is too good for Derek.
You're right, but she makes it at least watchable. I hear you.
She does.
She does.
And originally, when they were first flirting, when Ashley and Derek broke up originally, I was like, okay, I'm on board. But he just was using her to get back with Ashley. And so he's done. They're done for me, in my mind. Like, she's for him.
I hear you. I'm just being selfish again, is that I can only watch a scene with Derek if Shanice is in it. So I'm doing this for myself.
I didn't mind a little bit. I don't know. I don't think anything's going to happen, but that firefighter friend of his.
Oh, yeah. My husband couldn't stop talking about the firefighters. Like,
she was very pretty.
Yes.
Where did she come from? The two of them. We have never seen them before, but I'm all for if they want to start incorporating her back little by little. Ashley, on the other hand, needs to get some serious therapy
or leave.
Figure out her life before she goes after any other man.
Which better not be Andre.
It better not be Andre. I'm enjoying Danny and Andre way too much. They're basically the only, and this is crazy to say, but they're basically the only solid couple that's working other than Anita and Vernon on the Gates.
But you don't need to root for Anita and Vernon.
No,
Anita and Vernon are settled. But you root for Danny and Andre.
Yes. And so I hope the show realizes that Danny and Andre is like, they work.
They should be at the center of the show. They are the romantic pairing that's working.
Exactly. Because anytime Andre is with Ashley, I don't even want to say. I can't say.
Maybe.
Well, I feel like they need to figure out what they want to do with Leslie, because are they trying to redeem her or are they going to keep her a villain? Because they can't give her all these vulnerable, emotional scenes about how she was done wrong in her life. And they come right after she barges into Nicole's house and just rails at her in Laura's face, basically. And Laura is terrified and she has every right to be. And so that's where this dichotomy goes wonky, because I can't figure out what they want for the character. Annoying. She wants acceptance, but then she goes and does all these things that will never get her acceptance. I don't care though, because I feel like Haley is so much fun to watch now. Like infinitely more fun to watch than before. Does have an objective, even if she's messing up. Like, we know what she wants, and it's great to see her stumble. So it's not perfect. She's not perfect. And now she's like, she's got an eye on Isaiah. I know. And so I don't know how far they're going to go with this, but it would be fun to see, to have Kat step away from the Eva thing for a while and maybe have Haley and Eva go head to head.
Which would be much
like to see that. The Kat and Eva thing is pretty brutal. It's getting brutal. A man like Tomas. So the actresses are amazing, but it's with Eva, it's kind of the same on a smaller scale than Leslie. What do they want her to be a good person, or do they want her to be shady like her mom? Like she keeps on, she gets angry at Kat, but then she sleeps with Tomas, but she expects everybody to think she's this nice person. I'm like, you don't sleep with your half-sister's boyfriend for whatever reason and want people to still, I don't know, give you grace or something. Did you see that Kat told Ted that Eva slept with Tomas and it basically rolled off his back? But that's a huge betrayal. As bad as Kat looks in this whole thing about wanting Ted to have Eva call him dad. I mean, sleeping with the boyfriend that's as
Yeah, like
juicy as it is, it's not cool. It's not cool. I just want one of them to stand up for Kat, even if she's wrong, even when she's wrong, just stand up for Kat. Because you see Leslie stand up for Eva and all the stuff that Eva does. And meanwhile, Nicole, she just saw how upset Kat was that Eva is calling Ted dad, and then Kat walks off, and then Nicole just like gets on the elevator and goes home. She doesn't go after her daughter to see how she is, like to even listen to her perspective. The parents they're not listening to Kat's perspective at all. They just call her a spoiled brat and that she should accept Eva into her life. And I'm Tina Charles. Head over to Soap Hub for more news and updates on the latest storylines. And while you're there, sign up for our newsletters that focus on Bold and the Beautiful, Beyond the Gates, Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, and The Young and the Restless.